Ah, you two, good day. Now let me see. Well, where was it that we met? Ah, Mr. Sholmes, we're together on the SS Buria. Yes, of course, the Buria. And now let me see, what happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Sogi, he died, tragically. But you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Sherlock Holmes. This is Mr. Oh, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself in the superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain, attic. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Sisato. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. Ha, I lose the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London, but some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved it in a matter of no more than 30 minutes. They apprehended Saseki-san in that short of a time. I'm afraid the prescience of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little. It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should allow us to be the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from your adventure entitled A Study of Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madame, I should only be too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. We know this to be lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Saseki Natsume. It seems you assisted in his arrest, Holmes. The stabbing of a young woman outside here in Briar Road. Natsume, yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Mrs. Sato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Sasato-san squarely in the eyes while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I'm not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stomped compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective Scotland Yard made the following request to me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of the man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement of the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there's a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. What do you think Mr. Natsume is the culprit, then? That I could not tell you. But I was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned to you. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliography. Do not be deceived by believing I'm a man of leisure. No, no. Oh dear. Tell me, have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garrett, a retired military man. It was the first time I ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services. And it was the first time I ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. Ha ha ha. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much as my Great Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelon society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is precisely that reason that I find in great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired Army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb. Oh. Feeble as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it's imposed on the circumstances of this case, I have yet unable to ascertain. I am thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This room is thoroughly suffocating of the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is in dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. How about this dark little room, Sholmes? Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window, of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? Surely not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in the country by a number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up, while the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. Suppose not to make stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. But it appears so. I've done a little digging. I discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinary low price. This room is so awful, I should think. Apparently Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh. Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, didn't you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in that very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure on what grounds. Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too. The thing is, it really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Ah, yes, trust. Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Yes, that was indeed my initial intention, but there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was a Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear on having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. And one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance in this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garadeb is. Mr. Sholmes has acted said as much before, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as of yet, our investigation has uncovered nothing but that could help establish Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it is time we probed a little deeper into Gerdeb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether or not the landlord's secret will prove to be relevant or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Could you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. All that remains now is a frame around some bricks now. So it's really just a wall then, isn't it? Why would anyone deliberately bring it back up like that? I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design in a fit of whimsy. That's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive. It does. I imagine being coped up in a room like this would be extremely trying. Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way back in from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Durama doll that you brought in your luggage? Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm. Well, I imagine Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history. Well, it certainly seems to have taken its toll on this place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. According to Inspector Gexon, the house is where Mr. Natsume had lodgings. It's across the road from the incident took place, I see. Must be awful for Saseki-san getting caught up in something like this in a foreign land. Seems that we can't meet Mr. Natsume at the moment. Oh, he's being briefed about his appearance in court tomorrow, apparently. I see, yes, the trial is only a day away. Alright then, let's come back later. Yes, I really hope he's not answering any more questions with inappropriate textbook answers like, yes I do. Ah, your pair again. Tell me, it was the detective chap, I forgot his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah yes, rings a vague bell, all that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Give me a sec, I'm just checking something right now. I'm just ordering food. There we go. As rings a vague bell, all the detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan? Now then, why don't you go tell me what... Yar. For the unpaid time, woman, you will watch what you're well doing. I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Huh. Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you'd be so kind. Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garib is hiding something. Since no other avenues of investigation seem opening to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. Mr. Sholmes. Ah, we meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious, when did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. Whatever you're doing over there by the window. I'm given to watching evening sky as the sun sets, madame. Yet sadly cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks a departure for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up there. Well, keeping an eye out on one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again. So soon? Do you mean, Sholmes? There's a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes even to the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. Oh no. There's just enough for one of my greatly admired great detectives. Let's conclude the matter before dark. Mr. Garadeb, though it would seem you are a military man of conspiracy considerably distinguished service. Your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Eh? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Eh? I don't know how to look. The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems that Sholm's conclusions are both spot on. How? How could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Oh boy, I knew this was coming. The game is afoot. Certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrett, leads us directly to the answer. No. The true nature of the beast as it run rampant here is revealed by the lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. The fact that's filled your admiration for the mighty Lion King of Beasts. What is that piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? I'm living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you imagined. The chilling traits of the wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well. Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame? Me? I pray you do consider me unchivalrous, but it's plain to me that with one glance in your direction, it is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Ah. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garrett, at Batty's Circus, a traveling show for currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have reserved it from the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to a circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Now, Mr. Garrett, it is plainly clear that you still have the deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress of this loss has caused you veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by the supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man, I simply... But what, we must now ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, this is the pile of bills that has given rise to a pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Ah, for cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has a devastating impact on financial circumstances of your household. They had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could I have caused such a destructive outburst? Ah. This time, madame, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. No. There's no creature more dangerous on the earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain nobleman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is the heart of the tragedy, in fact, whatever you could you mean. Having tried the last cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of the lions I once saw in India. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction, the beastly puzzle. I think I know where we might be going with this, but I'm a little weirded out by this. Yeah, me too. What's the matter with you, Joan? You're still pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrett. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times, too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly not, Ahoda. What is it? Again. Well, if your deduction just now, do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But, if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrett and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you're stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beasts using that large cannon. I thought you said that they sold the lion in the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Cesaro, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of the race of breeding, whenever anyone lands in Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Yeah, sure they are. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. Slight massage, then that's all Mr. Holmes' deductions need. You can do it. Excellent, I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward. Mr. Naruhodo, we don't even need to know yet if this is going to help Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever their motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning of Sherlock Holmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might the beast take? For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrett, leads us directly to the answer. True nature of the beast has run rampant here, revealed by that lion statue. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you've observed Mr. Garrett's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast didn't breed amok here in this room. Yeah, something with a very fierce nature, but it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Garrett's gaze to lead us to the answer. What is this photograph? It appears to be from... Oh, that's the victim! It appears to me from Mr. Garrett's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but he can't make out his bride. Now, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass quickly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to dive too deeply there.
Take that!
The true nature of the beast that's run rampant here is revealed by the newlywed bride. Precisely, no other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this frame prints pictures of your wife, Mr. Garrett. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms, and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late. The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly sabotaged by this room, was your wife, Mr. Garrett. The chilling traces of wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame. Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but this is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gave us handsome clues as to the beast's current whereabouts. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh, dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mr. Garrett anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garrett's wife could be.
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us handsome clues to the beast's current whereabouts. Indeed it does. That flower band gleaming on your finger gives you away. What if the maid did it? For it's intended that the one shown in the hand of Mr. Garrett's bride is a photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garrett's lucky bride. You and Mr. Garrett himself. Word! Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you readily surmise, this is the wife, yes, my Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say. But she was a bally corker, Vic. He deserved to get burned on that one. It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you're a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? That's not right, I tell you. I was 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, that's a sorry thing when a chief chap can't afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrett has his wife work as his maid? Precisely, am I right, Mr. Garrett? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. Now, Mr. Garrett, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress of this loss has caused you veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by the supporting arm. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrett's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mr. Garrett is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm is that seems to be popping up in his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrett's pain is tangible though. What could that pose of his reality signify?
Take that!
He was slapped. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed of that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of the impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame John Garrideb. Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide the slap mark from your cheek, sir. How the blazes? How did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. Keep your other side of the view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrideb to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is a pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Did Mr. Shulman say that the bills were all for line fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the line never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garrideb's wife. No, she's a person, not a thing. Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Gee, I wonder. Someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Garrideb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand with a kiss mark. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks. Made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Susato-san. Oh dear. I'm sorry. So the bookmark is actually a love note,
Take that!
Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is to fly in ointment here. Car. But I don't know the bally woman. You don't know her. That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just there, you say. That's right. That's what I've been saying. Unlikely story. Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained it at the time. I bought the book at a second-hand place, and the note must have already been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right. It's what I've been saying. A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? Oh! And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bite. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet here. A very expensive wooden carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh dearie me, what could have caused such a destructive outburst? Ah. This time, madame, I'm afraid it's you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, look at the tower of cakes. But, surely Miss Garrideb didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt. The the state of disarray that this room is in. As if her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' abduction that needed fixed. We only need a trawl of Mr. Garrett's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. Looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the 3 missing from its holder?
Take that!
Because it's on the floor. There's a fire. Yes, to explain the direct state of the carpet, we only need to look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured as clearly visible. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks. It would appear that this room was the scene of a little altercation. Mr. Gyarados' mighty arm muscles left an impression, not only on your husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused the candle to fall from the holder. It's pretty far for a candle to fall, though, and in the second the carpet was alright, the whole corner of the room had flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in the world is neither a violent lion, neither a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, the ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So as you see, there is but one conclusion here. And the sparks of marital disorder flew, the room was set a scene of fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir? I salute you! 1 second.